Hey guys, hope you're doing well. If you're new here, my name's Joseph and I'm a third year medical student. Today I want to talk about New Year's resolutions and specifically what I'm going to be doing for the new year.
I made a resolution to floss and I did it. 12/01, January 1st, bam, blood everywhere.
At a certain point in time, New Year's resolutions used to be something that were taken seriously. They were a great time to start fresh, reevaluate your goals, and pursue them with dedication. Whether it was going for runs, reading every day, or pursuing your passion project. But by mid-January, most of us stop going for those runs. We start choosing Netflix over reading, and overall, we just slip back into our regular habits. At this point in 2020, I feel like New Year's resolutions have become a joke. It's kind of a foregone conclusion now that we're not gonna somehow miraculously change our lives just because the year is different. I know I've personally stopped taking my New Year's resolutions seriously at all. Making meaningful change can be really difficult, and it's a lot more complicated than just new year, new me. But honestly, I really like the idea that every year is a new chance to reinvent yourself and make change that you really care about. Now, earlier this year in January, before 2020 was like 2020, I saw this really interesting video by CGP Grey. In the video, he talked about having a New Year's theme instead of a New Year's resolution, and I really like that idea. When you pick a super specific goal, like I'm going to go for a run every single day, and then you miss it once, it can be very discouraging and could even cause you to give up on that goal completely. So rather than having a goal like I'm going to run every single day, instead you might pick a theme like the year of health. Instead of telling yourself that you're going to do a specific task, you're encouraging behaviors that fit within your general theme. That way, if you can't go for a run on a specific day, but instead you do a different type of exercise, or you just make a healthy meal, it still fits within your general theme of health. And then instead of feeling discouraged because you didn't go for that run, you'll feel more empowered knowing that you did something that fits within your general theme, and it'll give you more motivation to get up the next morning and continue working towards your goals. I really love this idea of New Year's themes instead of New Year's resolutions, and I'm gonna get into what mine is gonna be. Before that, I should tell you what yours is gonna be. Yours should be hitting the like, subscribe, and bell icon for notifications next time I release a video. Now, something I've been thinking about a lot is my time, and to be more specific, my lack of it. I always tell myself that the reason I'm not reading more, playing more piano, or spending more time with my friends is that I just don't have enough time in the day. And that led me to think, if I did have more time in the day, if there were more than 24 hours in a day, would I get more done? Would I feel less stressed out? And would I have less of this feeling like there's never enough time? And I think the answer is no. If I had 30 hours in a day instead of 24, I would probably feel the exact same. Not much would change. I'd probably still be wishing that I had more time in the day. The ways I'm currently spending time and wasting time would probably just expand to fill that new time that I'd get if there were more hours in a day. That is, it would probably follow Parkinson's law, the age-old adage that states that work expands to fill the time allotted. So if my lack of time doesn't come from an actual lack of time, where does it come from? I think it comes from the fact that I'm spending most of my time doing things I don't actually want to do. Have you ever told your friends that you couldn't hang out because you had so much to do and you had so much to study, but then you actually just wasted a bunch of time watching Netflix? Because I definitely have. And I think this is where the problem is. How I want to spend my time and how I actually spend my time rarely ever lines up. If I want to feel less overwhelmed, less like I don't have enough time in the day, then I need to make sure that I'm actually spending time on the things that I want to be doing. And that's led me to my theme of 2021. I want 2021 to be the year of intentionality. In the upcoming year, I want to focus on being intentional with my time. Whether I'm being productive, spending time with friends, or being an absolutely unproductive waste man, I want to make sure whatever I'm doing in that moment is what I chose to do at that moment. I want to be able to ask myself at any given moment, is this what I intended to do with my time? And hopefully the answer will be yes. I noticed how I didn't say my theme was the year of productivity. That's not really my goal here. I know that I can usually get all of my studying done within any given day, but some days I finish my work at 8 p.m., and that's not something that I'm okay with. What bothers me even more is the days where I finish early, like 3 or 4 p.m., but then I spend the rest of my evening on YouTube. Even though I told myself all day that I've been wanting to get started on that book that I've been excited about. Most of the time when I'm on social media, if I were to ask myself whether or not I intended to go on social media, the answer is usually no. Social media is a fantastic way to keep up with friends, learn new things, and it's just a great all-around source of entertainment. But I'm rarely ever like, oh, I deserve a break. I'm now going to open up YouTube. Or, I wonder what my friends are up to. Let me check Instagram. What happens more often is I hit an obstacle or I start getting bored with the task at hand, and then I subconsciously open up social media without even realizing it. I didn't consciously decide to be there, but since I've built that habit of just going there automatically, I end up being there a lot more than I actually intend to. I don't necessarily have an issue with how much time I spend on Wikipedia. I don't necessarily have an issue with how much time I spend on social media, but rather with how often I go there when I actually didn't consciously decide to go there. I think another way that becoming more intentional with my time will be helpful is when it comes to productivity guilt, the feeling that you should always be doing more. There's this experience that I have sometimes that I've never had before med school, and it's usually when I have a busy day ahead of me, and let's say I go for a walk and I see a friend I haven't seen in a while, and then we start talking. As we stand there talking for 10, 20, 30 minutes, I get this thought in the back of my head that somehow I shouldn't be there. I should be doing something more productive. I should be studying right now. It's this negative thought telling me that I shouldn't have wasted time talking to that friend, and I should have been more productive. Now, this is really messed up for a couple of reasons. The reason I want to be more productive is so that I have more time to have conversations like that with friends, not just for the sake of productivity. I need to remind myself that productivity is just a tool to help me get to where I want to go. And I'd hope that with adopting more of an intentionality mindset, if I run into a friend on a day that I'm pretty busy, I could actually decide and make that my intention to spend time talking to that friend, because I understand how important it is in that moment. So how do I plan to do this? How am I going to make my New Year's theme of intentionality a reality? Well, it's simple. I'm just gonna decide to be more intentional. Like, it's not that hard. I'm just gonna stop wasting my time by telling myself, hey, stop wasting time. That should do it, right? Oh, that's not gonna work? Okay. While my goal of being intentional is a great idea, it's not very specific. If I want to make actual change, I need to come up with specific, actionable steps that I can take that will help me pursue that goal. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start tracking my time. In the first bit of January, I'm going to section off 1 or 2 weeks, and I'm going to make sure I track every single minute of my time for those 1 or 2 weeks. Now, the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add non-productive tasks to my to-do list or to my schedule. The whole aim of this is to be spending my free time doing more of the things that I care about. But in a given day, once I finish my to-do list of all the studying that I have to do, I usually waste the rest of my day doing whatever. But if I add the things that I want to be doing in my free time to my to-do list, then maybe I'll get around to doing them more. For example, this past week, I've really wanted to spend more time playing the piano, but I found it very difficult to actually sit down and play. Maybe if I put something like play the piano for 30 minutes on my to-do list, I'll actually be more likely to do it. I know it sounds super weird to add something that you legitimately enjoy doing to a to-do list, because usually to-do lists are things that you have to get done, but I think this might be a helpful tool for me to try out. Now, the third thing I'm going to do to help me reach my goal is journaling. This is something I'd never thought I'd be talking about in a million years. But honestly, there's just a lot of scientific evidence to support the benefits of journaling. If I'm able to reflect on how well I did in a given day of reaching my goal of being more intentional with my time, then I can highlight areas for improvement. If I'm also regularly coming around to this, it'll help keep that goal in the forefront of my mind, instead of forgetting about that goal by the end of January. And the fourth thing I'm doing is making a YouTube video. I guess I've done this fourth thing first, but if I make this video and put it up on the internet talking about how I'm gonna reach this goal, and then I actually give up on it, I'm gonna feel like a hypocritical idiot. So I feel like by making this video and making my goals public, it'll actually help me stick to it. And maybe you'll learn something along the way. You probably won't learn anything. This is probably a waste of your time. You should probably be doing something better with your time than watch my videos. Now, I'm sure there's other strategies I will come across that will be helpful, so I'll make sure to update this video in the future with what works for me. Or I'll update this video saying this entire thing was a massive failure. But either way, you should hit the bell icon to stay updated. And that wraps up for this video. I'm really excited to see where this process goes. If you like this video, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and the bell icon for notifications. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, make sure to leave them in the comments down below. I will reply to all of them. Unless I don't like you, then I won't reply to your comment. I will catch you guys on the flippity flip.